In this recording, I'd like to talk about how to link an Excel datasheet into a Access database. Me personally, I wouldn't do this. I'm not a big fan of having my data spread out like that, where some of the data is in Excel, some of it's in Access. Some people might say, well, I've got tens of thousands of records already entered into Excel. I don't want to have to import them into Access. But as you learned in the book and saw in the first recording, that import process is pretty quick and pretty simple, even with thousands of records. But just in case you need it, this is an option that already exists, and maybe you only need it for a short period of time. I already have an Excel spreadsheet. This is a spreadsheet. Wait for it to come up here. That has some very simple data in it just for employees. Okay. So these are the employees that work for me. So I'm going to close that and then go back to my database. Again, I'm still using my pizza orders database. And I'm going to import that table, or link to it, actually. Okay. So I'm going to go to the external data. I'm going to get Excel data, and instead of doing the importing to an existing table or a new table, I'm going to link. I like to pick this first because I tend to forget, so then go pick the file. Here's my employees file. By the way, in this case, the employees automatically looked on the desktop because I have not closed my database since I created my first recording. Once you link to a certain location on your computer for data files, Access will go there automatically if you're doing a lot of this importing stuff and you don't have to keep changing the directory. So I got the right file. I want to link to it. Click on OK. Here's the fields. First row contains row headings. That's handy. Okay. Next. And then what do you want to call it? TBL employees. Maybe. Done. And now what happens is Access throws another table over here, but notice it's got a link to Excel icon on it. But I can treat it like any table. I can double click it and I can see the data and I can use this in queries and I can sort these and I can do just about anything I want to do to them. I treat it just like a table. I can use it to create a report. I can use it to create forms. Anything. This table, however, does not exist in this database. And you can't make any changes. Let's say I discovered Adam's mistake. That needs to be Aaron. I'm pressing the backspace key. I'm typing letters. Nothing's happening. Because this is linked, the original data is still in the spreadsheet, and you cannot modify it here. So that's the downside of linking. Any modifications you want to make need to be made in that spreadsheet. But if that spreadsheet already exists, that's probably where you're going to go anyways. So the next thing I want to do is go back and open that spreadsheet so I can compare the two of them side by side, maybe make some changes. I'm going to try to open this, and when I open it, it tells me that it's locked by another user. That's the Access program. So I'm going to cancel this and close Excel. And then go back to Access, and I'm going to close this table, or this link. I'm not going to save the changes. And now I'm going to try to open that Excel spreadsheet again. And this time I won't have any trouble. So that's a key part. Book doesn't mention it. If you want to use both the spreadsheet and the database at the same time, you must open the spreadsheet first before you open the table over here. Now I've got them both. Okay. Still can't make any changes here. If I sort this, I didn't save the sorts. If I sort it, doesn't change my spreadsheet. That's just the master. It's called a view in Access. I'm just viewing the data in a different way. The data's still there. I'm just viewing it in a different way by sorting it. Right, so here they're still in the same order they were when they started. Now we were to make changes. I want Adam's name. Adam's name is really Aaron. Mistype that. Enter. And what Book would tell you is that will immediately be reflected in Access. It did. I think there's a time lag there. When I did it the first time, it didn't show up right away, and I had to do a save or a control S, and then it showed up. But here, it did it right away. I think it's because I was a little slow when adding it, or switching between the programs. Let's add another employee. Employee ID number 6. This is not auto number, it's Excel. Okay, so I'm going to have to enter that. And we'll do Felicity Grable, and she's also a cook. Press enter, and I'll wait just a second and see what happens when I switch to Access. Is she there? No. If you don't see what you want to see, press Control S for save. And it should bring, oh, I forgot to save my spreadsheet. It's interesting, when you add records, you need to save the spreadsheet, then come over here, and my Felicity, maybe because I have them sorted wrong, let's try reopening that table. Normally it does a nice job of catching up. There she is. I think because I resorted them in a different way, that she came in a different position, and that may have been what caused that problem. But you can add records, but the key is you have to add them to Excel. And normally this would be done by one person, and then a day or two later somebody else is using Access to look at that data. So it's always going to be current because it's linked. This spreadsheet is not actually inside the Access database. There's a link to it, and whenever we ask for it here, we see the most current values. But remember, the one other key is if you want to see both the table and the spreadsheet that it's linked to, make sure you close the table, then open the spreadsheet, and then open the table back up. Because you have to do it in that order, otherwise one of them is read-only, and you can't. The Excel spreadsheet then would be read-only, and you can't change it.